Welcome. This is Michelle Hill here. I believe Melissa Kelly is also on the webinar right now. And that I'm hopeful that everybody had a chance to review the very detailed YouTube video that Ali Rack made for everybody on the coach's guide. So welcome to another awesome year. And so let's talk a little bit about Unified. My computer is being a little bit interesting today. And so I'm hopeful that it will switch. So I may have to just change my view. Oh, there it goes. Now it's working. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about our timeline, forms that are needed, and any resources that we need to get. There's some changes and some rules and some things to talk about, and then any questions anybody has is on the coach's resource guide. So let's get started. Anybody that doesn't have my contact information, michelle.hill@fcps.org, and then my cell phone is 412-512-1716, and that's my daughter in the background. Please feel free to call me at any time. If I don't answer, I'll call you back, so please leave a voicemail because my cell phone has been a little finicky lately. So let's talk about some administrative things before we jump into questions. So I'm hopeful that everybody heard me at the beginning, but I'm going to just kind of keep going. So 10th year of Unified Sports. I know some people have been along for the entire ride. Some people are just jumping on the Unified Sports ride. So welcome. Thank you for those that are coming back, and welcome to those that are just joining us. Everyone goes to states, which is a little different than tennis and bocce, but every team will go to the state competition on Tuesday, May 15th, or Wednesday, May 17th. And those dates are kind of based on the number of individuals you have on your roster. So if you'll notice on the PowerPoint slide right there, it says if you have a roster of less than 20 students, of 20 or less, then you'll go on the 15th. If you have more, then plan on going to the 16th. I know that a lot of teams have started practicing, so please make sure to have a conversation with your athletic director to make sure that you can get a bus for that Wednesday, May 16th. Also, just be mindful that some of your partners may participate in AP classes, and just check with them to make sure that they can attend the state competition if they're going to have an exam. And those dates haven't come out, I don't believe, for kids yet, but they may have. And May 4th will be the last day for anybody to adjust their roster for the state invitational. So you'll have that opportunity if somebody, at the last minute, because we all know how wonderful high school students can be about planning. At the last minute, they come to you, Coach Hill, I can't be there. Coach Hill, my mom said I've got to take this AP test. I forgot about it. And so that's a nice way that you can adjust your roster then. All right, season timeline. Obviously, March 1st was the first day that you could practice. I know a lot of people started this week. March 16th is when those Special Olympics of Maryland forms are due to me. Please, you can send them via email. You can send them through the courier. I'm at Urbana High School, and I'll update that for anybody that doesn't know what school I'm located at. But I do need those forms by the 16th, and I need your affirmation of eligibility, which later on I'll show a picture of that. And then any applications for participation and non-student athlete class requirements. So any of those, I know that Melissa Enger asked for the applications for participation and some other forms by the 8th. But the sooner you get that paperwork in, the better it is for everybody, so we can process it and get back to you with any issues. Meets start shortly thereafter. I know that we have our time trials are going to be the week of March 19th. And so we'll go to 2 different schools, all of our teams, and then we can get our time so that we can utilize them for the meets moving forward. And if you'll just look at the different things, I also included on there the webinar for the coaches, webinar for states. So please put that in your calendar now. And like I said, I will email this PowerPoint out to everyone tomorrow, in addition with a copy of the PowerPoint with our schedule. Anybody's looking for forms, Special Olympics has been really great about creating a Google folder for us. So if you, within this PowerPoint, you can just keep that link, and you can link in there and get all of the forms that are needed. They also have a coach's contact list, and they populate all the coaches' names in the state. I will put your information in there, but please feel free, if I have not gotten to it yet, to add yours in there if you have some free time, or to check it to make sure that I didn't mess it up. Due dates. I know I already talked about paperwork. Please make sure to get those Special Olympics, we call them forms, but the application for participation and the affirmation of eligibility to me by the 16th. It's a Friday. Sending it via email is great because then I can check it no matter where I am. I'm also fine, again, like I said, with having it electronically. If I have it electronically, I will probably scan it and include you on an email when I send it to Melissa Anger so that you also have an electronic record of it. Many of you don't know this, Sandy Gruninger, who used to input all of our meet results into GMS last year and populate your heat sheets for your meets. She retired and moved to South Carolina, but we were really lucky. A special ed teacher at my school has volunteered to be our new GMS person. So meets results need to be sent to Rachel Teddy, who her email's right here, and myself 24 hours after the meet. And I know it seems silly that I'm saying 24 hours, but to get all that in and turned around to you all so that you have the next meet run smoothly, it's just imperative that we have that time. So thank you guys for adhering to that deadline. All right, so now talking about the forms. I know that some kids maybe filled out the wrong packet, and so they don't have the student athlete application for participation. So here it is, and it'll also be on that Google Drive. Again, make sure to get those to me by March 16th. And then this is your affirmation of eligibility. Again, I always refer to this as my roster. So use this as your roster. Also, this comes to me by March 16th. Make sure that you have filled everything out on that. And it's important that you do that because then when information is inputted into GMS, that information for our student athletes is correct. And we want to make sure that we are having good information and can check it in multiple places. And then this is just, you'll just see on the bottom, additional team personnel or travel parties. If you have a manager, any instructional assistants that are traveling with your team that aren't necessarily coaches, please include them down there because we want to make sure that they have the opportunity to go to states and have be, a part of your team and be allowed to go where coaches go. All right, non-student clearances. For any students that wants to be like a volunteer coach, please have them fill out this form and make sure to have them the page 2 of the volunteer application and also have them to do the protective behaviors training, which I know is a little different in the past. I think this is twice. Sorry about that. All right, protective training. I know that most coaches have done the protective behavior training. Please, if you have not, please go back and do it. I emailed all returning coaches the link for this and asked you guys to have it back to me by the 8th, which is tomorrow. I know that a lot of you have done it, which is fabulous. If you didn't get a chance to do it already, it would be great that you could do that. Melissa Anger would love to see those and be able to process them. All right, points of rules. Some just changes for this year. If you want to check out page 4 of your guide, it talks about the proportionality of your team. And it's really going to stick with that 70-30 model that we have kind of had in Frederick County for the last couple of years. But please look that over and send me any questions you have. But the big thing is that they've got to be 70-30. And it can be either way. You could have 70% of your team could be individuals with disabilities and 30% could not have them. And that's more than fine. But we want to make sure that you're having that unified, inclusive environment, which it's so important for all students.
Hi, Michelle. It's Melissa. Kelly, if I could just cut in here just for a moment, wanted everyone to realize that on the flip side of the proportionality rule is that including the actual citation from the coach's resource guide is to caution you that some of your opponents may be disproportionate and we will receive waiver requests because quite frankly, some schools do not have the general population that we have in Frederick County. So there are special centers, a number of them in Prince George's County, for example. So if that is the case with their general population, we are now accepting waiver requests to align with the proportionality rules. So just a caution to you that if you see teams at the state invitational that they look to be disproportionate, one, don't judge a book by its cover. The student athlete may have a disability and not appear so. So that at the outset, and secondarily, they may have received a waiver from the Unified Track and Field Sports Management team. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Melissa. I knew I was forgetting something on this page. Apparently my computer doesn't think we need the next slide. And so then the next one, sorry, then I'm just going to show it in this view because for some reason it will not let me present and move through it. I'm going to try one more time, but if it doesn't work after this one. So we're talking about the maximum effort. And I know that we've talked about this quite a bit in years past, that we want to make sure that all of our student athletes are running to their full potential. Guys, I'm so sorry that this isn't working. And we want to continue doing that and making sure that, oh, there it goes. Okay, so that we have student athletes that are running through the season and continuing to improve. We don't want to see somebody that started out the season, doing really well, and then for some reason, every meet they get significantly worse. It's understandable when student athletes, their times changes and gets better and worse based on their feelings or moods and things like that. But at the state invitational, the maximum effort rule will strictly be applied to all relay teams, regardless of their alternates, with a 20% threshold. And I'm going to read this, meaning that any team that's outperforming their qualifying time by 20% or more will automatically be disqualified. And so this is important just to remind our student athletes that they need to, be competing at these events and not running slower or faster just because of who they're running against. So, and we also want to make sure that when we create these heats that there is a true competition for each team. I always think that's my favorite part about Unified, is because we can have a heat of very slow individuals, but it's a race for them because they're all at the same level, and the same happens with our, faster heats. So just be very mindful of that, please. All right, jewelry. I know that we've had a lot of conversations about this, and we talked about it last year. No jewelry when you're running track. It is just a safety concern. Also, NFHS regulations, I know that they allow them, but Unified Sports is a little different. And so we want to be mindful of our students' needs and the students that students are running against. So we're going to strictly enforce the no jewelry. And I would ask that people at their home meets also do that, so that individuals aren't surprised when they get to states or counties for that matter. There's some information coming out about dual participation. The rule book historically has stated that if you have ever participated in a varsity sport of the same sport, you cannot participate in Unified. An example of that is if you ran varsity track last year and then decided you wanted to run Unified, you would not be allowed to do that. We are investigating that and going to continue to kind of look at it. And the same applies for the scoring multiplier at states, to make sure that teams have equal opportunities to score points. So both those things, more information is being gathered, and information will be shared with you all regarding that. Again, here is the coach's resource guide, the meticulous review that Allie did of it. So please, any questions, concerns, comments about this? I'm going to look at the chat function. So please, if you have something, just feel free to type something into the chat function.
You can also raise your hand, or Michelle, if you're comfortable, I can open up the phone lines if you'd like.
That would be great. I just don't know how to do that. So that would be wonderful.
No problem. So just a caution before we do open up the phone lines, if you don't have a question or if you're somewhere noisy, please do use your personal phone mute option so that we don't hear the background noise. So Coach Nesbitt, you're now unmuted. Coach Krivos, you're now unmuted. Coach Sheets. yourself muted, and Coach Ripien, it looks as though you need to enter your PIN, which you should have received through an email that I just sent it seconds ago as well. So we can take questions now. Okay, Michelle, I'm not hearing any. I'm not sure if you see any on your end, but I think we're good to go to move on.
Okay, great. Please, if you guys have any questions or need to contact somebody, please reach out to me. Allie Rack is the unified chair for our area, but please reach out to me first because I can answer the question. And then if I can't, I will absolutely reach out to other people to get an answer for you. And I think that's it, everybody. Coach Ripien, if you are unmuted and no one else has any other questions, thank you guys for your time. And then Coach Ripien, if I can just talk to you briefly for a second. So you guys feel free to log off. Thank you again and good luck this season. I'm sure you'll see me around at your different meets.